I'm Oral Hershiser, and I am on the Blue Review. Hey, this is Sean Green. You're watching the Blue Review.
Bum, bum, ba-da-da, bum, bum. Ring. Hey, welcome everybody to the Wednesday edition of the Blue Review presented by LAX. I'm Marcus Grant. That is not Greg Bergman. Greg is off today. So our pal Jeff Spiegel was nice enough to jump on in and hang out with us live from Reno, Nevada.
Nevada.
I appreciate you hanging in. Jeff, how are we feeling on a Wednesday?
It's good visiting some family out here. If you follow me on social media, you'll know Oklahoma City is in town. So I've gotten to see some Dodgers minor league stuff. And Teoscar Hernandez, first rehab appearance last night. I was there. He hits a home run. So we're feeling great on a Wednesday morning.
Awesome. I do want to ask you about the Comets a little bit later on in the show since you got to see them. And I know you're going to be there again tomorrow night, I believe.
All week. I'll be
okay.
here through Friday.
Okay. So definitely want to get your thoughts on that. But obviously, we're going to talk some Dodger baseball as well. They get a big win last night against the Twins, 12-3, the final score. So we will dive into that. And apparently, a Dodger starter may have a new nickname bestowed upon him by one of the all-time greats. So we will dive into that as well. But first, as always, want to let you know that the Blue Review is powered by LAX. What does it take to build a champion? Well, at LAX, it takes round-the-clock testing. Skylink is being perfected right now to connect you to the airport, the new rental car center, and the metro in under 10 minutes. For more information, visit lawa.org/ESPN. All right, Jeff, 12-3. It was nice. For the first time in a while, it seems like the Dodgers won a game by more than one run. That had kind of been their MO lately. But I guess the story sort of starts last night with Justin Wrobleski, who continues to sort of defy logic. The expected ERA is well above what the current ERA is. He doesn't miss bats. He gives up hard contact, and he's 9-2. Make it make sense.
Yeah. With 2.71 ERA on top of it. He's like top 10 in every major category among National League pitchers, I believe. I think it was a perfect summary. Like, you just keep waiting for sort of, the carriage to turn back into a pumpkin with Justin Wrobleski, because we've seen guys that it feels like they outpace the expected numbers for long enough. They sort of rely on what many in the analytics community would consider to be unsustainable performances, and yet he keeps stacking them. Again, last night, just 3 strikeouts, 2 walks, but he goes 7 innings and only gives up the 5 runs. Some of the underlying stuff, I mean, it's a 19% whiff rate. That's below average. It's not very good. A 28% called strike and whiff rate. So he is able to keep guys off balance and get a number of called strikes, which I do think matters. He was in the zone a ton. Emmett Sheehan the other night in the zone 40% of the time. Wrobleski last night 61% of the time, gets ahead of batters. So, I mean, the recipe for him is not blow you away with my stuff. It's mix and match. It's be in the zone. It's get ahead in the count and cross your fingers and pray for weak contact and a good batting average on balls in play. And I honestly don't know. Like, I keep it waiting for this to stop working, and it just keeps working. So, I mean, as a fan, I'm just here to enjoy the ride.
I mean, I think that's sort of where we all are. It's funny, though, because you talk about, the analytics folks and looking at all the underlying numbers. And, for the fantasy baseball nerds, it's like when you read fantasy baseball articles, I lost track of the number of weeks where I keep seeing you should trade Justin Wrobleski because this can't keep going on.
Right.
Like the value is as high as it's going to be. Trade Justin Wrobleski away, and then he comes out and he has another solid start, which at this point leads me to believe, like, I don't know what's going to happen with the rotation. Blake Snell, we presume, is going to be back after the All-Star break. Tyler Glasnow, who knows? He's not even throwing a baseball at this point yet. But it does feel like when we start talking about who potentially gets moved out of the rotation, it feels like it's going to be a tough call. Eventually, Wrobleski probably does get moved out of the rotation when everybody's healthy. But for now, it seems like a really tough decision to try to move on from him.
Yeah. I mean, what's funny is when you look at his game log, if you go back to the middle of May, he gives up 7 runs in that weird 8 2/3 game against the Braves. 2 starts later, it's 5 runs to the Brewers. and the ERA goes from basically 1.25 at the beginning of the month, and it creeps over 3. And I think a lot of us were like, okay, hey, it was a great run, Justin Wrobleski. Like, surely this All-Star thing's not actually going to happen. And then since then, he's got an ERA back under 2 in like the 5 or 6 starts since then, because he keeps allowing, he's allowed 1 run, 0 run, 4 runs, 0 run, 2 runs in his last 5 starts. So, yeah, I mean, I think he's clearly ahead of Emmett Sheehan. Roki Sasaki has been awesome, but even as good as Roki has been, like from a just box score perspective, he's been better than Roki Sasaki too. So I don't envy the Dodgers once Glasnow and Snow come back.
Yeah, that's going to be a really tough decision. It's a good problem to have, but it is potentially going to be a problem. I sort of hinted at this, but Jeff, you saw last night on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling that website now. Pedro Martinez had a stack of tweets. He has not learned about the threading option. Just a stack of tweets about Justin Wrobleski. And so we're calling him the Great White. Is that what we're calling him? The Shark? Is that what we're calling him? We're calling him that. Is that what we're calling him right now?
So here's the sequence of Pedro Martinez tweets. I was impressed with Justin Wrobleski. He's like a shark out there. After tonight, he's now the Shark. Next tweet, Justin Wrobleski. After he got the lead, he went after them and then followed up. They have a lot of great whites in LA, great white sharks to be clear. And now Justin, quote, the Shark, Wrobleski is one of them, hashtag MLB on TBS. And then finally, Justin did something really impressive, which is anticipate himself to the situation. Once he got the lead, he was able to understand what he needed to do and put up quick innings. That's a sign of maturity and confidence. If you do want the immediate following tweet, it says, I'm a better gardener than I was a pitcher. The only thing I enjoyed more than working in my garden was probably protecting one of my teammates, taking pride in it and doing it right. So this all occurred 9 hours ago. So shout out to Peyton. It's like, we're not quite to Magic Johnson levels, but no. I would like to see, you could sequence these, you could put them in a thread, but you know what? I'm just glad we have Pedro Martinez telling us that he now refers to Justin Wrobleski as the Shark. And my question to you, Marcus, is, are we buying that? Is the Shark? I mean, if Pedro Martinez gives you a nickname, who among us can tell you that's not his nickname?
Who are we to say that is not good enough? So I think we try it on. I think we kind of let it roll around for a little bit, see how it feels. But I'm okay with calling Justin Wrobleski the Shark. Yeah. I mean, look, Jeff Samardzij's not using that title anymore. So
well, and I mean, he does, like, the whole thing about Wrobleski is he comes after you. Like, he is the aggressor in the situation when you step into the box. He is not waiting to see what you do. He is not allowing you to kind of get your feet under you. It's trying to attack from the first pitch. Again, I think it was like almost 60% of the time he gets ahead, and it's just pound the zone. Like, he's not trying to get you to swing and miss in the zone. He's not trying to get you to chase outside of the zone. It is just all of his pitches in the zone. Go ahead. The onus is on you to come and hit this stuff. And so I see where Pedro gets the nickname. Like, again, Pedro Martinez says it. I believe it. So here we are.
Yeah, here we are. So Justin the Shark Wrobleski. Until further notice, we'll have to inform Greg when he returns that is the new nickname for Wrobleski. Offensively, so Chucky Robinson, huh? I see in the chat, Denny Cortez say Marcus willed Chucky's hits yesterday. I can't take sole credit for it because Jeff, you asked in the text chain whether or not people were going to start to wonder whether or not Chucky would ever get a hit, and I raised my hand that I was among those people.
You said, didn't we start that like a week ago?
Yeah,
I believe.
It's like, some of us are already here. Is this kind of what it was? And no sooner did I put that out there than he slapped a single to left field, his first hit as a Dodger. But it ended up with 2 hits in the night. But weirdly, that first hit might have been the big one. I mean, it kind of kept the rally alive, and the Dodgers went to score. They ended up scoring 3 runs in the inning. That sort of was the start of them breaking that game open. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Chucky Robinson is going to suddenly become a mainstay in this offense, but at least for one night, he really was a catalyst for the offense.
Yeah, I mean, last night's box score is hilarious. I was worried that, when are we going to have the Shohei Ohtani conversation? The only Dodger not to get a hit last night was Shohei Ohtani. They had 17 hits and 7 walks. That is like an outrageous number of base runners. Ohtani walked one time, then he got pinch hit for with Miguel Rojas, who immediately got a hit. So the one spot did get a hit out of it. But, I mean, Call, Freeland, and Robinson was 6 for 12 last night with 3 walks. Like when that happens, if you're the Twins, just pack it up and go home. I think that was it. I think the game actually ended when Chucky Robinson got his first base hit. It was sort of like we have crossed the threshold where if this happens, actually, like legally, everyone is obligated to just allow the game to proceed into a spiral, and that's what happened. So. Yeah, apologies to Aaron Voth, I believe is his first name. 4 innings, 11 hits, 5 runs and a walk. And then Rogers comes in at the end and gives up 5 runs in the final inning, the 9th inning. So, look, the Dodgers offense has been a talking point of late. A lot of 1-run games, a lot of low scoring 2-1, 1-0 victories. So, I guess they evened out all the stats last night with the 12-3.
Yeah, it is funny because for those of us who watch them on a daily basis, like I think people on the outside see that the Dodgers are averaging however many runs it is per game, and they're like the offense is amazing. Then when you watch them on a day to day, you see that it's sort of like this, right? It's 4 runs, it's 1 run, it's 2 runs, then it's 12 runs, and that sort of makes the average look a little bit better than it probably does on a day to day basis. So. We'll see if this turns into something, if the offense really is able to start going, or if this happened to be a one-off. But it was nice to see Robinson get involved in the offense, to see him get on base. I think he had the biggest smile. It was like it's like a little leaguer getting his first hit or something like that too. So
and for cool. A guy that like I believe he's been up in the major leagues like a couple of times over a couple of years, and he had no hits. Like imagine being the guy who gets multiple opportunities and then gets sent down, and it's like, oh my gosh, like I got however many at bats that I got last night, and like this is actually never going to happen for me to finally be able to say, hey, I got a hit in a major league game. Like that has to be, I mean, forget hitting a home run. First major league hit has to be, short of a World Series, the best feeling in baseball.
Absolutely. And I think especially for a guy who has been around baseball as long as he has, I mean, Chucky Robinson is 31 years old, right? Yep. So it's not like he's not some young prospect who is just coming up. No. But yeah, it had been a good long while. So finally has 2 hits with the Dodgers. So congrats to Chucky Robinson for
and apologies. That. I guess he did have hits prior to coming up with the Dodgers, but did not have hits with the Dodgers.
No, this is his first Dodgers hits. But he hadn't had a hit since 2024.
Yeah.
The White Sox.
That was the stat. So my apologies.
It had been a while. Well, it's funny because you saying that you're not the only one, because
I could have sworn on the broadcast last night they made it seem like he hadn't have a hit.
Like he'd never had a hit. I mean, I was like, wait, I feel like he's been up before, but I know previously when he was with the Dodgers, I think he just had a couple of sacked bunts or something. I think that was
he was 0 for 1 in 2025, did score a run, and then prior to last night, I believe he was 0 for 11 coming into the game. But he did have 17 hits between the Reds in 2022 and the White Sox in 24. Raised his career average to 131 last night with the 2 for 4 outing.
Yeah. Nobody gets Chucky Robinson out 12 times in a row. So anyway, tonight's Shohei on the mound against the Twins in game 3 of the series. The Dodgers try to go for the sweep in that one. Joe Ryan getting the start, who is Minnesota's number 1 guy. He was bumped a day because of an illness. So we'll get on paper what at least should be a pretty good pitching matchup. Do we anticipate Shohei hitting tonight? I know that's always a big question.
Yeah, I was just checking. Last night, Fabian Ardaya did tweet that he will hit during his start today. Okay. Obviously, subject to change, I suppose, depending on how he feels waking up. I mean, it's bizarre because if you search Shohei's name on social media, which I did, the first update is Fabian Ardaya telling us he's going to hit tomorrow, and the second, right below it, is somebody sending a video of him walking off the field in Minnesota, and he just looks like uncomfortable, let's just say, as a word. So, again, Ohtani says he wants to hit. Ohtani is going to hit. Ohtani says he wants to keep playing. He's going to keep playing. I don't want to say there have been times, let's say, when Ohtani has maybe embellished things a little bit and taken things to an extreme as far as reactions to physical pain when he's in the box or something like that. And then, so maybe there's a little bit of that where he's sort of not overplaying it to be dramatic, but almost like walking as protectively of his knee as possible, which makes it look worse than maybe it actually feels. I mean, I don't know, but they keep sending him out there. Today's going to be one of those days. He's probably going to hit a leadoff home run and strike out 10. And we're going to be like, I can't believe we talked about whether this guy was hurt or not.
I mean, you talk about embellishment. It is the World Cup going on, so you kind of
Sure.
have to get in the spirit of things as the World Cup is happening. Want to ask you about the Comets because you're in Reno right now. You did get to see OKC last night.
Yes.
Teoscar Hernandez with a nice home run, so that was good to see. Look, Teoscar looks like he's probably going to be back, probably not on this road trip, although they're saying he could join them in Sacramento potentially, which I guguess is, depending on where OKC is, not a long drive. Yeah, it's an easy drive from Reno. I don't know. Guys like James Tibbs, like Hesong, will we see Hesong Kim again? Will we see James Tibbs again? I mean, what do those guys look like right now?
It is funny. Like you come down here and you see the lineup, and it's like Zach Earhart was DHing, and Earhart's this outfield prospect that doesn't get talked about a ton because he's not in that group of 5 or 6 who are all like top 75 prospects in Major League Baseball. He was the other piece in Dustin May. He's been on an absolute tear. He's like really good. So he's leading off. Tibbs is playing first base and batting second. Teoscar's batting third. You've got Jack Sawinski, who's like top 5 in OPS and has 1 million home runs. And then Hesong Kim batting 8th with Alec Thomas and, those types of guys mixed in. So it is funny to look up and down this roster. There's a guy whose daughter was like at a softball tournament. So the whole tournament was at the game. And he's like looking at me and he's like, oh, do you, asking me questions about the Dodgers. And Kim walks up. I'm like, yeah, this guy probably starts for 90% of the league. And instead he's batting 8th for Oklahoma City. So, I mean, there's positives and negatives. I will say with Hesong Kim, like, it's weird to me that he's batting 8th and also at the same time in AAA, which is a hitter's league where everybody's numbers are inflated. Like Ryan Ward, Jack Swinsky have OPSs of 1,000. Hesong Kim's is like 680 through 100 at bats down here in AAA. So I have no idea what is going on with him. Like I don't mean to take this in a negative angle, but I'm just like watching it and I'm like, when Alex Freeland comes down here, he looks like he's the greatest hitter of all time. And then he goes back up and turns into, a guy who's like, you're hoping he's league average at some point. So when guys can't even be hit in AAA, that worries me a little bit. But on the positive side, I mean, there's an embarrassment of riches down here. River Ryan is scheduled to pitch on Thursday, which is fun. That's the game we bought tickets for our whole family. And then it sounds like River's going to pitch. Landon Knack is a fun name. He's in the mix down here. So he's been hurt for a while. So I don't know if he's going to pitch this week, but they said that he is now with Oklahoma City, which is a fun one. And then Evan Phillips is still down here too. So it's a funny group when you look up and down the roster and you're like, there's a lot of big leaguers on this OKC Comets roster right now.
I mean, part of it is because, again, being the Dodgers and being who you are, part of it is that you have obviously guys who are injured and they're working their way back, but part of it is just you are so stacked at the major league level that you do have major league talent stuck below you in Oklahoma City. So that's interesting. Seeing it in the chat, and I've seen it a lot on the internet, right? We're getting close to the trading deadline, about a month away, a little more than a month away. The Detroit Tigers are floundering. I'm sure you can tell where I'm going with this. Tarek Skubal is the name that keeps coming up because obviously the Tigers aren't going to let him walk without getting anything in return. Knowing Andrew Friedman's reluctance to overpay for pitching at the deadline, do the Dodgers make an offer? And who do you think could end up being in that offer if they do?
Yeah, after we recorded on Monday, I posted on my channel, Bleed Dodger Blue, that I feel like there's kind of 3 questions in the Tarek Skubal conversation that I don't feel talked about a ton. It just sort of revolves around like, hey, is Tarek Skubal good? Yeah, he is. Do the Dodgers usually trade for good players? Yeah, they do. It's like, cool. Well, then they should obviously trade for Tarek Skubal because he's good and they like trading for good players. What's interesting to me is like, I think there's 3 questions. One is how much is like basically a month's worth of starts of Tarek Skubal worth to you if you're the Dodgers? Because they do not need Tarek Skubal between now and the first game in the postseason. And from there, you're not really guaranteed a ton. So really, it's like, okay, you're going to get 1, maybe 2 starts in the NLDS from Tarek Skubal. And that's kind of all. You're guaranteed 1 start in the NLDS. That's basically all you would be guaranteed when you trade for Tarek Skubal. And how much is that worth to you? And if the answer is it's going to cost you a ton, the second question is, do you really want to extend Tarek Skubal? Because if you're not going to extend Tarek Skubal and give him the biggest contract in baseball history for $350 million over the next 7 years, is he worth trading for? Like, do you really want to end up giving up Zaire Hope and Justin Wrobleski and, Charles Davalon or something like that in order to go and get a month of Tarek Skubal and then not to extend him. And if you do want to extend him, is that a good idea? Like, do you want to give a pitcher who's on the other side of $30-50 million a year for the next 7 years? Those are two interesting questions. And the third one is, what do you do with the collective bargaining agreement? Because Scott Boras is his agent. Is he going to sign an extension this year? Most people assume the answer is no because Boras is his agent, although I do think that's a little overplayed. If Skubal says to Boras, I want to sign an extension with the Dodgers, he's going to sign an extension with the Dodgers. Boras isn't going to call the shots. But do you try and sign it before the CBA gets ratified and say, well, just lock everything in and deal with the consequences later? Or do you wait until after the CBA and then the rules change and maybe there's, way harsher penalties on the top end? And you're like, dang it, did we really, now do we want to spend $50 million? And if that's the case, did we really want to give up 3, really valuable long-term cheap pieces to go get Tarek Skubal to upgrade from Tyler Glasnow to Tarek Skubal when it comes to the third pitcher that's pitching in the postseason? So these are all really fascinating questions that I don't even claim to have answers. I'm not here to say the answer to those questions is don't pay him, don't trade for him, and be careful of the CBA. I'm just saying I think it's worth asking. Would you trade those prospects if you knew you were only getting him for a month? Obviously, if they win the World Series, it's all worth it, but that's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
And then would you sign him to a $400 million contract? Those are complicated questions, I think.
I also do wonder how much the organization sort of learned from the Max Scherzer situation, right? Did you bring in a guy who you thought was going to help you win? Obviously, we know the way it sort of ended with him in the postseason, with him basically tapping out when the Dodgers needed him. And, God bless Walker Buehler for being willing to take the ball, even if it went badly. Yeah. And then obviously they don't even get anything for him. He ends up leaving the next year, and that was sort of it. And I do wonder whether or not, when you look at the cost and the potential outcome of bringing in a guy like Tarek Skubal, I do wonder how much the Max Scherzer situation kind of rattles around in the back of people's brains in the front office.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously Trey Turner, a part of that deal, and another guy who was here for a year and a half and then left for nothing. I guess the good news on the flip side is the Nationals received Keibert Ruiz, who, is what it is. Josiah Gray, who hasn't panned out. Gerardo Carrillo, who ironically enough actually pitched for the Reno Aces against the Dodgers last night, struck out Teoscar Hernandez in his third at bat, and Donovan Casey. So on one hand, the Dodgers might say, okay, well, we traded 4 pieces that we don't miss. But yeah, again, I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. I just think it's more nuanced than is Tarek Skubal awesome? Because the Dodgers, one, have the prospects to burn. They can afford to give up 3 incredibly valuable pieces, 2 incredibly valuable pieces to go get Tarek Skubal if they wanted to, and it won't cripple the franchise for the next decade. So they can do that. They also can afford to overpay. And I do think, as a lot of people in the comments on my video said, Marcus, it's well, if you don't get him, is Milwaukee going to go get him? Are the Braves? The Braves are the team that I think I just look at and I'm like, put him next to Chris Sale and try and go chase a title. That would make some sense to me. So there is that element as well. But again, my contribution to the conversation is not yes or no. It's just, I think we have to ask ourselves lots of questions of, would we pay for a guy if we knew it was only a couple starts in the NLDS and then you cross your fingers there's more? And would you pay for him if you weren't going to extend him? Should you extend him? I think these are all interesting.
Yeah, I think these are all things. These are all things that I know that Andrew Friedman and his team are talking about, and we will wait and see what happens. Fingers crossed he does not go to Atlanta. Let's let's keep that from happening as much as we can. Jeff, appreciate you jumping in this morning. I know you got hopefully some interviews coming up the next couple days with guys.
Yes, Bleed Dodger Blue is my YouTube channel. I'm actually recording an interview with Fabian Ardaya in about 10 minutes, so that'll be up today. 5 pretty good questions with Fabian Ardaya. Hoping to get some interviews with guys like Teoscar Hernandez, Evan Phillips in Oklahoma City, and of course, I'm also part of the All Dodgers podcast and show on YouTube as well. So All Dodgers podcast and then Bleed Dodger Blue as well.
Be sure to go check that out indeed. In the meantime, That'll wrap it up for this edition of the Blue Review. Stick around for the Sedano and Cap Morning Extravaganza coming up right after us. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to Tim for production assistance. Dodgers 4:40 start time today from Target Field in the finale of that series with the Twins. We're back with you to talk about it tomorrow. So for Jeff, I'm Marcus. It's been the Blue Review presented by LAX. We'll see you tomorrow, 6:30, 6:55 here on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. See you.